Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming at you live to talk about episode 8 of the anime series, Just Because. And I think one of the things I really super appreciate about this series is even though there is sort of a love triangle thing going on right now, they are not banging you over the head with melodrama, with making things heartbreakingly sad or overly melodramatic. It's still very much kawaii. It's still very much cute and adorable. The lengths to which Komiya is going in trying to get up her courage to ask Eita out, even though she was pointedly told by Natsume in the tail end of the previous episode, don't do that. Don't ask him out. She's not going to take no for an answer. She is an individual. They are all individuals. They can all seek and explore and try to figure things out of their own accord, and that's what they're doing. And even in sort of, the mulling things over that Natsumi now has to do because she sees that, in fact, Komiya is going to pursue this. There isn't this sense of heartbreak and heartache and things just being defeatist. None of these characters are defeatist. They're trying to find their way and figure things out for themselves, and they're not going to back away and just, let one or the other of them, have their way with the scenario. And I really love that. I really love the adorableness of seeing Komiya get up the courage, figure out, the right choice of words, and it takes her cat Puta to hit the send button when finally she has a well-constructed message asking Eita out and everything. And, of course, Natsume finds out about this, just happens to run into Eita, and she already has a sort of an inkling suspicion that that's probably where he's off to that day. And Komiya, upon finding them both together on the train, on the monorail, like, she isn't immediately defeatist about it. It's awkward, but it's cute awkward. It's not like tense awkward where you feel bad for all parties involved. I was grinning through all of it, and even the date itself. Like, she ends up considering it a date. Eita probably hasn't even considered it to be that, even though everyone around him, Natsume, Haruto, they're all pointedly asking, what's up with you and Komiya? What's going on there? Something going on there? And he's wondering, why is everyone asking about her? He doesn't even realize, he doesn't even perceive how naturalistic their relationship is, how he can play off her and he talks to her more easily than any other girl he's ever had any sort of, encounters with and everything. And so it's kind of just, it slipped him because he is focused pointedly at, Natsume and everything. But it's adorable. And even that date, Kamiya is kind of stringing him along. He doesn't even need to be there, as he says. She's just taking all of these really meticulous, photographs and everything and kind of oblivious to him even being there. Even though she is, just being in his presence has brought out this level of joy in her. That's why she's having such a good day. It is because he is there. But he feels like, why am I here? And, but then when they go back to, the library or the school or wherever it is, and she pulls out the old book of photographs, chronologically going over the history of the school, the years he missed and everything. It's kind of sentimental to him and it's kind of sweet to him, and suddenly he has this renewed interest in spending that time with her, sort of as an extension of being with her, looking at these old photographs and, catching up with the time he missed and everything, and that's something she can afford him. So it is complementary, their relationship, the dynamic between them, even if it isn't necessarily the thing you might want to see, because he has had this long-standing emotional rapport and connectivity to Natsume and had an interest in her, and now she's just starting the burgeoning of her interest and her awareness in him is happening. And so it's kind of like, well, where do you want to lay your money? Which girl should end up with him, and is either relationship ever going to work out? Because he is tentatively going to be, moving on, maybe, again. So, like, it's just really interesting, and I found myself just grinning through the lot of this episode, and I was grateful that they had every opportunity to make it depressive and heartachingly sad and bitter and all of these melodramatic twists and turns they could have employed in the story, and there was none of that. it's very lighthearted. It's very cute and fun, you know, and stuff like that. There's a warmth to it, you know, that I get while watching this show. I always go back to Hibike Euphonium being something that it very closely mirrored the emotions I feel, you know, watching this show is what I always felt watching that show. And even in the moments where things did get tense, even in the moments where things, you know, characters were up against it between a rock and a hard place, and some decisions had to be made, heavy, you know, weighty decisions, it's like there was still a warmth. There was still just an enjoyment factor out of it that this show embodies and recaptures for me. Seeing, you know, the awkwardness of Haruto and everyone going over to Natsuki's house, and her little brothers come home and want to play, and there was a snowball fight and everything, which we don't actually see the snowball fight, but I like that we saw the drawing afterwards that the kids made because they like him so much. And once again, her sister's kind of, you know, pushing her to be more fashionable and change her look up since she's thinking about college. And by the end of the episode, you know, Eita runs into her and doesn't even recognize her from right off the bat. I knew it was her, but like, she did look somewhat different. She had sort of stylized her hair differently, and she was wearing more fashionable clothes as her sister had picked out for her. And so she is sort of becoming more forward thinking, whereas she seems to have been more so a traditionalist. You know, she has the old house, and she's sort of wearing the older clothes, the clothes she's more comfortable in. And she's just kind of happy with the status quo, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as it doesn't get in the way, you know, interfere with your being able to grow and progress and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think it really was in her case. I don't think it was getting in the way of her growing, her growth, her evolution as a character, as a person. So it was just kind of interesting and cute, and it made me, you know, chuckle when Eita doesn't realize it's her, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know, he snaps to, and he's like, "No, you look good. You know, I didn't mean to say you didn't look good." But all told, that was this episode. It was really warm and cute and fluffy, even though there's again a love triangle thing going on, which they really could be pouring on the melodrama and making me loathe the scenario and making me feel like I'm forcibly having to choose between Komiya and Natsume and everything like that. And I was really fearful with Natsume going and, you know, going back and doing more testing. Like, she was going to have her mind elsewhere and she's going to screw herself. Because, you know, she's constantly dwelling on, well, what's going on with Komiya and Eita, you know. I don't know if that's going to be something that happens, if that's a predicament that will be raised out of this. Hopefully not. Hopefully she still keeps her head and her wits about her. So she doesn't, you know, sort of undermine her chances of getting into the school she wants to get into, even though there was some question by her elder sister, you know, as far as why did you choose that school? Did you just choose it because that's where I went? You know, you can forge your own path. You don't have to, you know, traipse down the same path that I did. You know, so I mean, who knows? Natsume may decide not to even, you know, go to this school that she's trying to get into. It might be a blessing in disguise if she's absent-minded with those tests and it falls through, because maybe that's not where she's really destined to go, you know. But yeah, I love this show. I love the characters. I love the rapport between them, the humor and the lightheartedness again, and just the warmth of the entire scenario. You know, it isn't defeatist. It isn't depressive. It's highly, highly enjoyable. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of Just Because Episode 8, if you've seen it as well, if you had the same sort of reaction to it that I did. If not, why not? Let me know in the comments below. Just love having that conversation. It's all about the topic of talk and talking about great anime series like this, which is very much what I consider it to be, a really great show. And yeah, otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. So this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.